Hi guys. So the question is, if I am a smoking woman and I am pregnant and I want to breastfeed my baby, is it possible? Can I breastfeed my baby even though I'm a smoker? So this is the question and the topic that we're going to talk about. Now, the concern always is about the nicotine and if it gets into the breast milk and that amount of nicotine that does. And there are some components that do, get into the milk itself. But it's important to think about some other concerns as well. If the one of the biggest things for the baby is secondhand smoke. That is even as okay, you're a mom and you smoke, your baby is still exposed to secondhand smoking, even if you're pregnant. Then you have the baby born, and they're still going to be exposed to secondhand smoking. So what we really want to do is cut out or try to avoid or limit the exposure that the baby has to that smoking. We want to avoid as much as possible those types of situations. So the first question you would have to ask, or I as a lactation counselor would ask, is are you willing to, do you want to quit smoking? Are you willing to cut back smoking? And sometimes you might say, okay, I could cut back. So then maybe there's certain cigarettes that you take throughout a day that you could actually just stop taking those specific ones and only take the ones that you feel are more important for you. Like, I don't know, if you're working or whatever you feel you need that cigarette the most, and then cutting back, as many as you can possibly do. Now, another option is if you don't want to quit, possibly using a nicotine patch. Now, the nicotine gum is not as good as it's not as good as the patch. Or I should say, what happens is the nicotine gum does not lower the mother's blood levels as much as the patch does. So if you're chewing the gum, it doesn't lower that tobacco, the blood levels in your body the way that the patch does. That really does lower it. So they recommend, okay, versus, instead of using the nicotine gum, maybe use the nicotine patch. Now, of course, if you don't want the patch and you want to do gum, that's still even better than the cigarette itself. But if this is your form of maybe trying to quit or at least cutting back while you're pregnant, and while that, and really, whether you breastfeed, you don't breastfeed, whether you're pregnant or you're not pregnant, that baby still has to be, or I shouldn't say whether you're not, well, yeah, whether you're pregnant or you're not, if you have children around the house, you still have children, then the biggest risk is that secondhand smoke that they are going to be exposed to. So that's really what you want to tackle. That's what we really want to figure out what we can do to limit the amount of nicotine or secondhand smoke that child is exposed to. So those are probably, so if you decide you don't want to quit, cutting back and using the patch would be the best route to go as far as when you're pregnant. Now, the differences for a mom who is a smoker and a mom who isn't, and you both are pregnant and you're both breastfeeding. So the difference with a mom who's smoking is her baby will be a little more fussier. And they also have noticed that women who breastfeed who are smokers, they also don't breastfeed as long. And it could be due to the fact that mothers who smoke don't produce as much milk as you would if you didn't smoke. So we know that smoking causes the baby to be fussier. It causes milk supply issues, and also it will cause, or it is the result, or how do I want to put it? It would end in the result that the baby would not breastfeed as long as you might want the baby to breastfeed. Your goal might be a year, and you may not be able to make it to a year due to smoking. But all that being said, breastfeeding is still better than not breastfeeding. In fact, they have found that if you're going to smoke, whether you have a baby in the house, whether the baby is going to breastfeed or not, if you have a baby, you have a baby in the house and that baby is going to be exposed to secondhand smoke, or just the fact that you're a smoker, they are going to be exposed somewhat to secondhand smoke. Having the benefits of breastfeeding is better than if they did not breastfeed and they were formula fed. So the benefits of breastfeeding they still outweigh the danger of that little component of nicotine that they may get through your blood levels. So with, what the government recommends is moms should try to quit breastfeeding, or try to reduce the amount of cigarettes, or try to use the patch or gum instead, patch preferably. And then also to understand that you may have less milk, you may have a baby that's a little fussier, and you may not breastfeed as long as you might want to, or as long as what is recommended. So what can you do? As I mentioned, the greater the exposure, the better it would be to breastfeed. So let me just give you a tip. If you're a smoker and you're breastfeeding, smoke outside. And when you go outside, have a smoking jacket or a smoking, whatever it is. That way that when you go out and smoke, that the clothes you're wearing, the smoke doesn't get on the clothes you're wearing, so that when you go to pick up the baby, you don't have that secondhand smoke on your clothes. So you can take that jacket off. Now, it doesn't mean the baby's not going to be exposed. They'll still have that little bit of exposure, but you're trying to do as much as you can to limit that exposure. So that's really important. And again, like we said, your goal is to limit as much as you can and to protect that baby from secondhand smoke. That's your main concern, not whether you should breastfeed or not. And the fact that you're breastfeeding is the best choice you're making if you're a smoker, because of the benefits that come with breastfeeding are going to help your baby, versus if you do not breastfeed. There's already so many negative aspects of smoking, and having a baby, the secondhand smoke issue. Then you have all these other issues as far as, gas and viruses and all these different things that the breast milk actually helps protect your baby from. So, like I said, the benefits of breastfeeding, they outweigh the negative part of smoking. So, it's very important that you breastfeed, and we want to encourage you. Yes, breastfeed. Now, you might hear people tell you, in fact, I had a mom come to me and say, I really wanted to breastfeed, but the nurses told me I wasn't allowed because I smoked. And that is not true. We want you to breastfeed if you're smoking, especially. We want you to quit smoking. We want you to limit your smoking. We want you to try the patch or gum. But if you don't do any of that stuff, we still want you to breastfeed, because breastfeeding is going to benefit your baby more than if you did not breastfeed and you formula fed, because then the baby's going to have to deal with all those other issues that come with formula feeding. So I think that that's the most important thing. That's what I want to kind of talk about today. If you have any questions, please comment below, leave them below. You feel free to email me. I am going to put some links. I'm sorry, I don't know if that went out. I'm going to put some links in my description that talks about breastfeeding, pregnant, and smoking. So if you're pregnant and you're smoking, if you're breastfeeding and you're smoking, it kind of talks to you about that, the benefits, the risks, all that kind of thing. And then also some resources that you have. So I'm going to post those below so that you can, check those out. That explains, it a little bit further, a little bit more than even I explained it today. Hopefully I covered, a little bit, but, I just want to make sure I hit the main points. I don't want it to be a super long video. I want you to be able to watch it quickly and get your answer to questions. So to sum up this video up, should I breastfeed although I'm smoking? Yes, you should. It's actually better to breastfeed if you are a smoker. You should breastfeed, because like I said, and I've been saying, the message is to try to quit, but it's not really realistic to expect you to quit all of a sudden. It takes time. So the benefits are going to outweigh the risks. So I'm going to say yes, breastfeed despite the fact that you might be smoking, and also protect your baby against secondhand smoke. I believe I have a link that's going to talk about that as well. So that's our focus, not whether you should breastfeed or not. It's just protecting your baby from that secondhand smoke. So I hope that helps. Again, any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment below. And I hope that helps, answers your questions. Please subscribe to more classes. I'm going to talk about, my next video is going to be about over-the-counter medications, and can you breastfeed taking these medications. So that'll be the next video I do. I hope that you enjoy it, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.